So before we really get going, do you think we could take a little time to do the wave snaps and claps?
I love that idea.
You know, like, I feel like this is the moment. So for those who, yeah, so for those who are maybe new today, wave snaps and claps is a tradition that we have, just to kind of get pumped up.
Zander, I'm seeing Amanda Willette, like, you know, stretching and everything. I think she needs to lead the group today.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. On the count of three.
On the count of three. Ready? Let's do it. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, on the face.
Woo. All right, and then, and boom! Yeah. All right.
Whew.
Back. Woo.
I know at some point we'll initiate you into all of the different gestures. The Malones, the Bardsleys,
It's cool stuff.
the anti-eye roll, to name a few.
Yeah, today, you know, Michelle and I are going to show you some pretty cool, we got some cool apps to help with study habits, and a little bit of just like how our brain works and how we take in information. You know, I've never been a traditional learner, you know, so I learn differently, and finding tools and kind of discovering how we learn is a big aspect of all that we, you know, do. And I think going to college is like, that's one of the first things that we learn, right, is to how we take in all that information and stuff.
All right, so we're kicking off making the most of the tools in your toolbox.
Woo!
AKA the Zander and Michelle show.
Got it.
One of our primary tools is our brain. One of the primary tasks in college is knowledge acquisition. So I oftentimes think about our brain as a big sponge that soaks up information. When I was in college, I wish that I could simply lay my head against the textbook and somehow through osmosis, the information would enter my brain, but not so lucky. For today's presentation, we're going to dive a little bit deeper, hopefully not dive in too far into the weeds, to talk a little bit about how our brain works as far as taking information in, moving it from short-term to long-term memory so that we can then retrieve it for the day of the exam. The part of the brain that we're going to be focusing on is the executive functioning portion, which is located in the prefrontal cortex. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, executive functioning, also known as EF, is the cognitive and mental abilities that help people engage in goal-directed action. It is responsible for organization, synchronizing, and directing lower-level brain networks. The 3 EF building blocks are working memory. This holds information mentally long enough to process and act on. Usually it's about an average of 3 to 5 pieces of information at any one given time. Activation is the ability to get started on a task. We also talk more about this as procrastination. And inhibition is the ability to monitor and regulate one's behavior. This is the area where sometimes getting stuck, perseverating on a problem, like we had a former student that would get stuck on a math problem, and it was like a dog on a bone. And he would work the problem, and he'd come in the next day and he'd report out how stressed out he was. And between Landy and myself, we'd say, stop doing that. But he eventually did take our advice. But this is the piece where we want to try and help you stop that perseverating and maybe move to a different task. And sometimes your brain is still working on figuring out how to solve the problem in the background without frustrating further. This is also the area where anxiety plays a role and can get you fetched up and overwhelmed. So the three pieces work together in concert, and we're going to talk a little bit about strategies to help this work better for you.
Yeah, exactly. And one strategy that I used as a student with A&P class, right? Taking in the information, learning the stuff, the material, and then getting to a point to walk away. And I'm a piano guy, right? I played music, and I would go and play the piano. And I would play the piano, and as I'm playing, I'm also allowing that information that I just learned from A&P to sink into my brain from that short term to get into that long term. And now it's getting in there, but it's by getting up and maybe moving around a little, and yeah, things like that.
So a piece of this is your brain is taking in all of this information through a variety of senses. And when it gets gummed up, it's referred to as overwhelming that cognitive load. So it refers to how information fills working memory. This is where a major bottleneck can impact or slow information processing from short-term to long-term memory. In this diagram that we received courtesy of Landmark College, which is a college located in Vermont that works with students with learning differences. They came up with this diagram to kind of show it visually. You have the incoming information, sensory memory. Some of it is forgotten. Some of it moves to working memory. Some of that is forgotten. Typically, in order to kind of commit it and move to long-term memory, we need to do something with that information. And that's where rehearsal comes into play, where you might be writing down information, new vocabulary, multiple times on your notepad, like Landy was suggesting yesterday, or you're reviewing note cards with a spouse like Delilah was mentioning. So this is all happening even when you're folding your laundry.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I love the example of the traffic zone too. That's so good. All right, so for this next activity, I'm gonna kind of try to give you guys an example of what cognitive load feels like. There's a couple little exercises here, just gonna give you an example to kind of like know how your brain's feeling when this kind of happens, right? So if we can stand up, it's a good time to move around a little bit, but if you can't, that's cool. But this exercise, we're going to take our hands, you can kind of see the prompts here, and we're going to have our hands face each other like this, right? And what we're going to do is a simple exercise. We're going to take our pointing finger, right? And then we're going to take our pinky finger, and we're going to just keep doing that. And that's kind of like taking in that new information. Pretty simple. It's, you know, we're doing this, get a good feel for it, right? It's like, Xander, what are you doing? All right, and now let's change it up. Now let's do reverse. So one pinky is out and one pointing finger out. And now do the same thing. Like, I'm a piano guy, I've practiced this, but you can feel your brain right now, right? Like, this is like, Xander, what's going on? This ain't right. I don't understand this, right? So that's like taking that all of a sudden new information, and your brain can't, like, whoa, what's going on, right? So another exercise as a math problem, right? I'm not a huge math guy, but so do this math problem. Simple, 12 plus 15 plus 20, take away 11, right? I'll give you a few minutes to a few seconds, kind of work this problem out. And should have some like Jeopardy music playing in the background or something. That would have been cool. Yeah. All right. So the answer, of course, is 36 because I already did the problem. So now let's change it up. So now the next problem, it's similar, but we're going to do it in Roman numerals. So you have to do the problem in Roman numerals and the answer in Roman numerals. And yeah, so that's your brain hitting you. And I'll give you a little bit of a cheat sheet, so here's some Roman numeral stuff. And this is what's happening with our brain right now, right? Like you can feel that, like, whoa. And yeah, it's okay. That moment where you're like, I gotta, oh. And I'll just move along and give you guys the answer. It's 35. Because I don't want to be that guy.
We're trying not to torture you.
No, that's not my intent. I swear. So this next exercise is kind of a new one. And for this one, I need a volunteer. Let me see. If anyone can raise their hand, and I'll see who picked it up first. I think I saw Jordan. Okay, cool, Jordan. All right, so Jordan, if you could unmute your mic and read
Oh, here we go again.
The color.
Blue, red, yellow, green, purple, orange.
Okay. And this next part, you guys can all say it too and stuff, but now this next one, I want you to say what the color is, not the word.
Not the word.
Not the word.
Red, blue, yellow, green, purple, orange.
Do you feel that a little bit, like of that, like?
Yeah,
oh,
it was a little weird.
A little weird, right? Like kindergarten, we learn what colors and what they're supposed to look, that word's supposed to look like, and associated with a color. But now it's all changed up, and you can kind of feel that in your mind and stuff. So that's kind of like an example of what cognitive load is kind of like. Does anybody want to share anything, like maybe how that felt, or don't say that.
It felt weird.
Yeah.
As a early childhood major kind of thing, it's weird. Like even a child would get this wrong and confused.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And it's taken in that information, that new information, but it's kind of the cognitive load's playing in our brains, and it's trying to get that into that long term. It can be kind of stressful, for real. So, but that's that exercise. And then,
how many felt a little panicked when Zander threw up the Roman numerals?
I did.
I felt stressed out throwing up the Roman numerals, like. But yeah, no, that's an example of what that feels like and stuff. But because I'm not, I want to take us down from this cognitive load experience. I wanted to just share. Let me see if I can go over here real quick. I just wanted to show off some pictures of kittens, kind of help relieve us from that stress. And that's also a little dog named Rufus. So just want to share that.
All right, so we want to try and combat that cognitive load. And strategies that help with that help to reduce cognitive load. To reduce cognitive load by increasing organization tools. Now, we've heard a lot about the benefits of organizing our workspace and all. Big part of this is to try and get into a routine so that we're not using as much of our brain energy to think about that piece of it. So the more routinized we can make the semester, the more energy will go to other tasks. So that's kind of the name of the game. So we've got here, make the most out of your study time, all right? Creating a study space is key. In a perfect world, you would have a fancy desk, but that is not always possible. Sometimes you have to get creative. The goal is to have all your materials together to make it easier to do your schoolwork. Something as simple as storing your materials in a banana box can cut down on frustration and wasted time. Keeping your school supplies organized will help reduce prep time. Less prep time equals more study time or fun time. It was funny this morning as I was getting ready to start my day. I had the Today Show on, and they had these organized guru people on, and they were talking about this fact, with so many kids being homeschooled, or doing remote learning with the pandemic, that it may require both parent having an organization toolbox, so to say, as well as the child having. I know all of the time that I was in graduate school, I lived with my boyfriend at the time, my husband now, and we lived in a one-room apartment. So the proverbial had to leave the apartment to change my mind. And we had a little kitchenette table that I would do all of my schoolwork at, and I had a series of milk crates that I stored nearby. But when it was dinner time, everything got piled into those crates so that I could easily find them when it was ready to work on the schoolwork. We mentioned the banana box because sometimes you don't even have enough cash to be able to purchase a milk crate, but you can go to the grocery store and try and get a heavy duty box. So sometimes you have to think creatively, but I think the idea behind this is we're trying to encourage you to think about ways that you might be able to make the most out of the space that you have. It became very difficult when we, as Zander says, when we went dark. I had a number of advisees reaching out to me asking when was the college going to be open for them to be able to use the Lunder Library or the Trio space to study. And unfortunately, when we went dark like that, when we were all to shelter in place, everything was shut down, including the lobbies of McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts, which for a number of our students that live a distance away, that kind of was their makeshift library. So it really required some creative thinking and strategizing. Some students, I don't know if Leslie's a part of the session today, were studying from their cars in the parking lot of the campus because there was Wi-Fi available. So the college is trying to identify hotspots to help students in the event that we go dark again. For the immediate, there is some accessibility for students to be able to come onto campus to study once the semester gets underway. But I want you to really be thinking about making the most out of your study area at home, especially in the event that we go dark again. I don't know if you have anything else to chime in on that, Zander.
Yeah, no, I think that's well put. And yeah, I mean, I think having that banana box, having that crate that you might be using, it's going to cut so much time it takes to just get ready to study, right? You got to hunt out a pencil, you got to hunt out a notebook, a paper, or whatever. But having all that resource so that you can cut down that time it takes to get ready to start doing that studying that needs to get done on stuff. And yeah, I mean, with everything mostly, if online, this is going to be a new experience for a lot of people, and just trying to find ways to try to keep engaged on that online aspect. I mean, the panels this for lunchtime are amazing with like what they shared. I love what their advice and all the things they shared. But yeah, just something to help with cutting that prep time to get into that study mode, so you can get that exercise to get your brain what it needs and stuff like that. But cool. Is using your calendar and the Outlook to use as kind of a training buddy to kind of like, okay, it's time to start studying on this. It's time to start studying on that. Something's going to kind of give you those helpful reminders. So we all have access to this Outlook calendar in our Gmail, our Outlook, our KVCC email. And when you log into your email, we all have access to this calendar down here on the bottom left.
I use
And
it for all my appointments.
yeah, yeah, okay, cool. And this is an example of kind of how we could use this to help with getting organized, getting those notifications of, hey, we're supposed to be doing this, we're supposed to be doing that, kind of like a training buddy. So here's like a day in a glance of what a Monday might look like for you as a student. At 8 o'clock I have A&P class, and I'm going to get a notification on my laptop. It's time to start, get ready to study. If you can download the app on the phone, it'll pop up 15 minutes. It's going to be, A&P time, and things like that. Or if we're traveling, it'll be like at 7:30, it's going to be like, hey, we got to get ready to travel. We got to get doing that. And then you can see at 10 o'clock, we got free time for studying sociology. So this is kind of an example of a day glance. And then this could be an example of like what a week could look like for you. So having this as a way to kind of keep yourself accountable, something that's going to give you notifications is, hey, it's time to do this and that, kind of get you into the groove. Again, with everything kind of looking like more online, to have something that can kind of just give you helpful reminders and notifications and things like that can be really helpful. So again, this is an example of what a class week could look like. And I got stuff in there for like school lunch for the kiddos, color coordinating things. Do you want anything else, Michelle?
Yeah, I know that we talked up the planner, and it is wonderful. Right now, it's not available yet. What I would suggest is, instead of holding out for it, try to populate your Outlook calendar. You can do what Zander has done, and we're happy to hold little mini sessions, helping students to get more comfortable with creating recurring appointments, things of that nature. What I have often encouraged students to do is kind of lay out those fixed appointment times, like maybe bringing your child to daycare. If you've got a set work schedule, you can populate that. Then you can use the week at a glance to print off that week's schedule, and you can actually do the entire semester if you're wanting to have a paper copy. That way you can do 15 weeks worth. I wouldn't recommend doing all 15 because things do change from one week to the next. But it is something that, if you're more old school, you can make the new work for you with the old school approach.
Thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah, I know my daughter was big on having everything color coded. Each class had a different color. Shopping at Staples or Walmart right now, all of the school supplies are dirt cheap. So you could get like a 3-ring binder in a particular color. You can get a matching notebook or a loose leaf paper. And then you're visually, looking at your calendar that I'm going to work on A&P. A&P is in a green notebook. I'm grabbing my green notebook. That way you're not shuffling through your book bag or the milk crate or the banana box looking for your stuff. Yeah. Get more frustrated and eating into your prep time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, labeling the binder, you can help too on the front of it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's a really good. And the next slide is just kind of showing a picture of the Outlook app. If you want to download that, again, you put in your KVCC email, and it's linked to that, and that also will give you notifications on your phone saying, hey, it's time to start studying, or hey, just kind of a way to helpful reminders to kind of keep you in the game of okay, it's time to start studying, and it's kind of getting into those routines that can kind of help you keep motivated and stuff like that. That's a really helpful app.
This one is a technique to combat procrastination. So we're referring to this as a procrastination buster. The Pomodoro micro-uniting approach was created. I apologize, I don't remember the gentleman's name. I just know that I think he's Italian, and used a apple-shaped timer. So Pomodoro means apple. It's funny, I've used this strategy and suggested this to students over the years, just not realizing this Pomodoro technique specifically. So the idea is breaking down a task into smaller chunks. So the Pomodoro technique is you decide on a task. I'm going to work on my sociology course. You set a timer, usually 20 to 25 minutes. You work on the task until the timer goes off. When the timer goes off, you put a check mark on a piece of paper, all right? You take a short 3 to 5 minute break, and then you go back to the task, setting the timer and continuing to say, continue to work on sociology for another 20 to 25 minutes. When the timer goes off, you're taking a break. You might switch subjects. After 4 of these sessions and 4 check marks, you take a longer break. And the idea behind this is your brain is seeing that you're earning more and more check marks, so it makes you want to stick with it or feel like you've accomplished something. And I can relate to this. I'm a list maker. I love my sticky notes. I'll start my day with the primary task, prioritizing, and there's nothing more satisfying to me than scratching those suckers off.
Yeah.
So I think of this in reverse, that you're making check marks, kind of rewarding yourself. Greg, one of our trio alumni, and he works for the college now, he would reward himself after studying and accomplishing so much by going out and treating himself to a Frosty from Wendy's. So you can do like those little mini ways of rewarding yourself. Yeah. Maybe it's taking a walk with the dog. Maybe it's playing a game with your child, or playing a video game, because you haven't dedicated as much downtime to that kind of an activity since you've been in school. But the idea behind this is not you throw all of the fun and you put your life on hold. It's really, I find that students that are most successful are those that are successful feathering in the role of student into their already busy life. And sometimes that means taking a lighter load, if possible, maybe easing your way in, dipping your toe into it, maybe taking 2 classes like English composition and intro to psychology, especially if you're not sure what you want to study, versus diving in full time, deep end of the pool. So you have control for the most part. If you're in a fixed cap, competitive cap program, you may be in a situation where it's all or nothing. But I want to encourage you, if you're kind of reconsidering your schedule, that's what we're here for. Don't be afraid to reach out to us this week, next week. This is why we strategically run our push week this week, is to give students that join us an opportunity to take in what we have to offer, as far as how to be a successful student. And then you personally kind of make choices for yourself as to how you want to tackle this college experience. I talk about process versus product. All of you are chasing the product of walking across the stage to earn your first college degree. And man, I applaud that.
Major.
Woo! The process in which you do that is your choice, right? This is very different than when you were in high school in K through 12. It's kind of fed to you You're told exactly what you have to take for classes. When you get into college, this is now your opportunity to figure out what you want to study. And there's some basic courses that aren't going to harm you. It's going to do you good no matter what direction you want to go in. And we're happy to help you kind of tease that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
That's well put.
I took a little side trip,
Whew.
but I think it was
flowers.
well worth it.
It's amazing.
You're going to find that we all collectively have a lot of knowledge, and we try our best not to blow you away like a fire hose.
Right. That cognitive load.
We're trying to parcel it out in a way that we hope you find helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the next one I just wanted to share, these are some apps that can also help with like what Michelle is talking about. This app is called Focus Keeper. And it kind of like what she was mentioning, that 25-minute study time and then take that 5-minute break. This is a free app that you can download. And it kind of, as you can see, you press the start button, you have 25 minutes to start your study time, and then it will chime and it will give you 5-minute break. Now, if you close your app, you're on Facebook doing all that stuff, the app will know and it'll keep track of a separate time of that time you stop studying. And then in that time, we'll keep going until you go back into the app, and now it will keep track of that, free time that you kind of procrastinated in there, count into it to make sure you get that solid 25. It also has a chart to kind of keep track of your highs and your lows, and hey, this was a good time to study. This wasn't such a great time. Something was going on here. This is a free app. Definitely check it out. It was a pretty cool stuff. The next one I wanted to share is called Flora, and this one's really cool. I like this one. Also a free app. Definitely check it out. Very similar to the last one where you do your 25 minutes of study time, but this one keeps you accountable because if you close out the app, you go onto Facebook, you do something like that, you have this virtual tree to keep alive. And after 25 minutes, it's alive, it's blossom, it's happy. But if you leave the app, it will die. As you can see in this picture here, it says go back immediately to save your tree, and I didn't do that to show you a picture, and I felt like a monster. But it's a really cool app, and it's kind of like you can grow trees. And at the end of their 25 minutes, it gives you an option to actually donate, $1 or even less to a tree organization that helps. The link's right here on the bottom, but it helps third world countries in Africa try to plant trees and help rejuvenate their communities. So it's a kind of a cool app. And another thing, and I'm going to use my cursor here if you can see, you can have a study buddy. You can have a reliable buddy here. Like if someone else has this app, you can both be reliable for keeping this tree alive. So if one of you go on Facebook, one of you close it out, the tree won't make it. So this is kind of a cool app. It's kind of linked in with your Facebook a little bit, where it kind of just knows if you're going on Facebook or not. It was really cool, a lot of fun. Yeah, and that's called Flora. And here's a picture of the app right here. And then the next one is, I never downloaded this app, but it's very similar to the last one. It costs $2. Stay focused. It's very similar to the last one, where it helps you grow gardens, keeps that reliability of, oh my gosh, I'm going to kill this plant if I don't. It's kind of like, but it's cool. It's a lot of fun.
We're always looking for free.
Yeah, I'm always looking for free. But it's also a cool app and stuff. But definitely check those two out. Highly recommended.
And any of you that have found apps or are finding apps as you get rolling, don't be afraid to share those.
Absolutely.
In the Trio space.
Another app I don't know if you were going to cover, since you guys, I felt like you opened the floor a little bit, is Free Rice. It's a type of learning app. It teaches you vocabulary and different word association. It really builds, so your papers when you write actually are more impressive because you have a better depth of understanding how words are interchangeable. I mean, that's how it started, but now they have everything from math, flag association on their app. And the whole time, every question you get right, it's 10 grains of rice that are donated to Feed the World charities and stuff like that.
Yeah, free rice has been around for, geez, over a decade. Thank you for bringing that up, Charles.
Yeah.
My middle
No
school used
problem.
to use free
It's improved a lot.
Cool.
All right, as far as distraction buster, stay focused is a Chrome browser extension that blocks specific sites, for example, social media. It's the devil, Bobby Boucher. During certain times or set times. Zander, I'm going to let you explain this. This is all beyond me.
It's all good. So I prefer to use Chrome browser for internet exploring and all that stuff. It's got a lot of really cool accessories that you can add to it that kind of help with studying. You know, and the one that this one helps with is stay focused is like this enable thing that you can put on your Chrome that it won't allow you to go to Facebook. It won't allow you to do, I don't know, like other things like you want to YouTube and things like that. It'll stop you from getting into those things for a set amount of time. Again, like you're going to do that study time, you're going to do what you got to do. This is just another helpful way to kind of like help you from not having those like, oh my gosh, I got to check Facebook or something feeling. And this has just got a picture of what it looks like when you log into it. If you just type in stay focused on your Google Chrome. I also have down here, we'll have this PowerPoint for you guys too, but there's a link right down here that will take you straight to it. And it's really helpful to just kind of keep you studying. If you think of it as like, again, you know, like a trainer, you know, your brain is just like a muscle, you know, you got to work out. And if you work too much, you're not going to be able to pick up a napkin, right? But if you got that guy to help you stay focused and keep working that muscle, stay focused on the task and all that stuff and do your reps, it helps a lot to kind of keep your brain into that motion and stuff. So this is a really cool app. I definitely highly recommend it. Next one is also kind of like, this is similar to the last one, but it's more for your phone. It's called 3030. And again, you know, you activate this and it doesn't allow you to open up Instagram, you know, Tweet or Facebook or all those other ones that we tend to like, social media that kind of help us from just, you know, those distractive things. And this also is a free app. Definitely check it out. It kind of just helps with keeping you focused for that 25 minutes. You could also have running, you know, saving trees as you're doing this one too. So that'd be kind of like a double whammy. But it's really
I also think of this. I'm sorry, Zander. I didn't
go ahead.
Some of these distraction busters are also procrastination busters in that sometimes you have a big assignment going that you're feeling stuck and overwhelmed on where to begin. Using something like this to challenge you to try and break that up into smaller chunks. It's kind of like, how do you get rid of the elephant in the room? One bite at a time. This one is meant to try and help you divide the tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks. So it's meant to encourage you to get moving on it and breaking it into, dividing it into smaller chunks. So we're almost there. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I wanted to take a moment to, as Zander was mentioning, the brain is a muscle and you need to exercise it. Exercises optimizes your mindset, improves alertness, attention, and motivation. It prepares and encourages nerve cells to bind to one another, which is the cellular basis for learning new information. Changing one's behavior, forming new habits, it takes a couple of weeks for you to change the behavior and start forming new routines. Starting to work on getting the kids to bed earlier or into a routine doing that now versus waiting for the first day of school is what I would be recommending at this point.
Absolutely.
I know that when my daughter was young, we had a set routine, and summertime is kind of goes a little bit out the window. But a couple of weeks before the start of the new school year, we got back into more of that routine. And you know, they're less cranky when they get a good night's sleep. I know I am. And I'm better prepared for those challenges to tackle when I've had a good night's sleep. Exercising can help with that. So helpful tips to promote exercise. And I mean, if you saw my physique full on, you know that I'm not a bodybuilder by any stretch. I like my donuts. But what I try to do is I try to do activities that make me move. All right. So I like to socialize. So be social. You can, that can help with accountability. During COVID, it was tough going for walks with friends, that sort of thing. Now things have loosened up a little bit. As long as you're practicing social distancing, you can make that happen. I've oftentimes seen students walk in the hallways together, reviewing note cards together. Do it anywhere. It doesn't have to be in a gym. It can be in your house or in your neighborhood. Do what you enjoy. I enjoy water sports, so swimming. This summer in the heat, I absolutely enjoyed that. Canoeing, camping, kayaking, getting outside and doing some hiking. I don't hike like I used to, but I enjoy being outdoors. That fresh air really does make a difference.
Well put.
Think differently. If scheduling time doesn't work, ask yourself what you can do to move more throughout the day. For me, I have some physical challenges, but during the good weather, I park my car a distance from the door at the grocery store, for example, and I might march through every aisle to get my steps in. My watch broke, but I have one of those. I had one of those watches that monitored your steps. I have it on my phone, but those of you that know me, I'm a cell phone reluctant, so I rarely have my phone on me. I haven't picked up that addiction. So I don't know if other folks want to chime in with suggestions on the benefits of exercise and moving it, or you lose it.
Yeah, I like exercising and dancing. Kind of like I have a bunch of just dances on for Wii. So I sometimes like to do that. Last time, I think Monday, I think I did that.
Nice. Yeah. It's awesome.
I didn't even think of that. That's a great idea, Liz. And so much of the TikTok, doing the different dance routines. I know the dean of students, she tap dances, which I think is awesome.
All right.
This is the final slide. Just a word about meditation. It increases brain function, improves creativity, reduces academic stress. It helps you to better concentrate. Better focus on task at hand results in an increase in brain processing, sharpens the brain, making it more harmonious, more of a harmonious unit, which in turn it helps to regulate emotions and behavior. If you want to give it a try, I simply looked up on YouTube for taking a look at a series of different videos, And the one that I liked the best, and again, I mean, there's a bunch of them,
Yeah.
was this one titled Beginner's Guide to Meditation for Positive, Productive Day by Pickup Limes, Limes, which I thought was a hoot. And she gives 3 short videos. It's 3 parts, 3 separate videos that talk you through the basis of trying meditation, including what do you do when you're sitting trying to meditate and free your mind from distractions, only to have a piece of your hair tickling your nose and whatnot. Lisa had purchased us access to join this meditation class this summer. And this was the first time that I really committed to making this a part of my routine. And I have found it to be beneficial for me. It really felt awkward in the very beginning, but now it's a piece of my routine. Like I said, it takes a couple of weeks, and I'm not perfect every day, but I'd say on average, I meditate at least 3 days of my 5-day work week. And it's not for a long period of time. It's like 5 to 10 minutes. And I just find that some days you're being blown back by so much information. You know, we're bombarded with, you know, all kinds of things. So just to be able to quiet my mind, I've found this to be very beneficial. I do have a couple apps on my phone that I use a timer, and it's a free app, different types of music that doesn't have words to it. And sometimes they annoy me, so that kind of defeats the purpose. So I've kind of, you know, narrowed down my hit list of which ones are least distracting. But I'm finding that the more I do it, you know, and have kind of committed to it, the easier when thoughts come in, I'm able to kind of sweep them away and then get back to focusing on my breath. And then before you know it, the alarm is going off, and it's like, okay, girl, you got to get out of bed or get out of the chair and get busy working. So I challenge you guys to check into that. I know over the years I've had so many students talk to me about that feeling of overwhelm, test taking anxiety, things of that nature. Being able to focus your energy and reduce that sense of overwhelm through meditation can really be effective. So,
it's wicked, and it gives you more energy too. It helps rejuvenate you and get you ready for that next thing. You know, like you said, like if you're nervous for a test, you're feeling that anxiety, you're feeling that like, ooh, just take those moments, listen to yourself, and it'll give you more energy.
Sorry, I think Riley has a question. I see her hand is raised.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Not necessarily a question, but I've been meditating almost every night since January because this year needed it. But I think one of the best things that people can do, like when they're first getting into it, is like, this is something that I picked up from a friend who's been doing it much longer than I have. But you get like clean pajamas and you throw them into the dryer and then jump in a shower and do this like at night. And then that way when you get out, you can put on clean pajamas and it's just like the most relaxing experience because then you can start meditating from there. And then it like,
I love that.
Like, right, like even if you're not really like thinking hard, just reflecting on like what you did that day and like what you want to do tomorrow, that kind of stuff, it very much helps. So yeah.
Warm pajama bottoms are just the best. Like anytime I'm there, you know.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
I kind of want to throw out, we were talking through the chat, there are different apps. I use Headspace. I started with the free trial, and he does talk you through if your mind starts wandering to bring you back. I'm a person, when I lay down in my bed, I wake up. Like immediately, everything that I pushed off is thrown into my head. And you can set it for different increments. I usually set it for an hour, and I can walk through falling asleep using the Headspace app. So that's
Yeah,
a really good resource.
good resource. Headspace also has free episodes on Spotify. So if you're not
Nice.
into paying for that kind of stuff, they've got some free.
That's awesome.
We like free.
We love it. How about that?
And I do want to throw out another resource. YouTube, there's a free yoga subscription. You don't have to pay anything. You can subscribe to her page. Her name's Adrienne. And she does yoga, and she does like that meditation piece in the beginning and at the end. And I've been going on a journey this past year, a mental health journey, a physical journey. I started Weight Watchers again, and I have bad knees, bad ankles. I couldn't just jump into exercise. So yoga helped me do that, and now I'm feeling healthier and stronger. And you don't realize the workout you get with yoga, but it's really good mind body health if anyone's interested.
Nice.
What's the free yoga name?
Her name is Adrienne. She does have an app that you can pay, but she offers all the services right online for free on YouTube. You can just do
Nice.
yoga with Adrienne.
Cool. Thank you.
So tomorrow is day 3 of Push, Thursday the 20th. We'll have another kind of a icebreaker in the morning where we can kind of get to know you guys a little bit more. And then we're actually going to head over to Zoom. we're going to start in Teams, and then we're going to head over to Zoom as a group. And there'll be no person left behind, so we'll kind of make sure you all migrate over there successfully. And that's just to show you how to use Zoom, because some of your professors will use Zoom instead of Teams. Mm-hmm. It really is a personal preference. I think in general, KBC, I don't know if that's true. I really don't know if there's one mode that they're using over the other, but I do know that they're using both. So we want to make sure you know how to use Zoom. It's very similar to Teams, but so you can kind of have that experience. And then Landy is going to lead a morning session on just kind of positive mental attitudes and how crucial that is to making or breaking college student success. In some ways more so than any kind of academic talent or organizational skills you may come to school with. I think that's what tanks students a lot. Landy, do you want to say any more about that?
I guess all I would say about it is when the first time I presented this at a push, I was worried at how students might be affected by it, because it can be very deep and personal. But the feedback I've gotten from students over the years, I mean, I'll have students get to graduation and tell me that they always remembered this and they kept it in it. And I even had students come to me, like a year later and say, hey, that handout you gave us about the inner critic, do you get another one of those? Because I think so it's one of those things that I think really resonates with a lot of people. Everyone can relate to this. So it kind of talks about can talk to you a little bit about how our brains work, how we learn, and how we can combat some of those negative scripts that we all carry around with us.
Thank you. Yeah, I noticed Amelia, if you saw her comment on our Facebook, she referenced one of the things you talk about in the guide. She did, yeah. Yeah, Amelia, we'll say more when we have more people on the call, but she was actually one of the students. She was the one who, the t-shirts that you guys either all got in the mail or will be getting in the mail, she was the one who designed it. And then one of our student workers who you may have met yesterday, Leslie, actually, she kind of took Amelia's idea and actually made it into the t-shirt that you all got. So it was definitely a group effort. But anyway, it meant a lot to her, what Landy's going to present tomorrow. Then our student panel is going to be on maximizing KVCC resources and just kind of discovering your why in general. And so Angel, who I can see right now, is going to be one of the people who's going to present. And Sarah Colley, who was on earlier, will be on the panel. Tammy Dempsey, who you've met, she was on earlier. She'll be on the panel. Oh, I can see she's still here. And Jeremy Hills, who was going to be on the panel today, he had to take his daughter to, hi Tammy, to a doctor's appointment. He's going to be on tomorrow's panel instead. So I think you have a great lineup. And then in the afternoon, is going to be some really, really useful information. If you're someone who is new to college, or just in general, you could use kind of a refresher. There's stuff, it's just really important stuff, even if you've been here, done that. We're going to talk about, we call it academic year at a glance. So it's really like, what can you expect each month as you go along? And there are so many important deadlines and details that are just, I know when I was first starting college, I had no idea. Like, I really thought it was going to be like high school where your classes started in September and went until May. I was so clueless as a first-gen college student, and something like this would have like saved me so much. Like, somehow I sometimes wonder, like, how did I make it to graduation with like everything I didn't know? And I was eligible for TRIO, but I don't know. I think they had it, but they didn't promote it. I had no idea. Anyway, so I made it by hook or by crook, and you don't have to. You're going to be much more successful as a result of having this information. And then Michelle will also lead you in some financial aid basics. And then we have a cool brand new, it's a way of kind of touring KVCC that Jordan put together for you. Normally we have students kind of run physically all over campus, and we can't do that this time. So Jordan figured out a way to make sure you know all the people that you need to know starting out and see all the places that you need to see. So it's going to be awesome. So it's a full day tomorrow, but I think it's going to be super useful. I'm excited to do it all with you. And as of right now, we are officially halfway through push. You're officially halfway indoctrinated and ready for your first semester of college, which is super cool. Yay.
Yeah, I completed the first year semester. So
That's true.
yeah, but it was hard in the middle of the semester. COVID hit.
Yeah, I know.
I've always thought that starting in January, you're a little bit of a disadvantage. And then COVID on top of it, I applaud you.
Yeah.
Liz, way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to do it. They wanted me to start earlier that fall, but I was still finishing my adult ed class.
Yeah.
So I couldn't.
Adult ed is wonderful. Get some great referrals from adult ed.
Yep.
I try to maintain positivity through all these life changes that we all are experiencing together. And I've said this before on many occasions that we are living a piece of history in time. So the fact that we are the platform of where this pandemic and COVID is beginning, we're doing it together. And the fact that in 25 years, when this is all behind us, we can say, hey, you know what? We were the pandemic team, or the whatever you want to call it. So
that's true.
Try to keep that positivity. It's difficult, especially being in an online version all the time. And, I feel honored to be able to go through it with all of you, and especially all the newcomers as well, because we've been there and done that, and we're making it work.
Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah. When I think about, I was just sharing this with that reporter. There may be a story about us in the paper, Morning Sentinel, at some point, but I was sharing just like, the way you qualify for TRIO is there's something in your background that makes it be statistically harder for you to graduate than people who don't have those things in your background. And I know the TRIO staff, we were all eligible for TRIO in at least one category, some of us in all three. And I just, doing it during, so that means it's hard anyway, right? But then doing it during COVID is just like kind of craziness. So like just to even think about it, and you're already doing it, you're doing so awesome. So it's fantastic. It really is. All right. Well, that's all I have. We definitely do still have time. We're scheduled to go till 2:30, but we can end a little bit early, and you guys can get started on whatever you had planned for your afternoons a little early.
Rest your eyeballs.
Exactly.
I must say that is one thing that I'm still struggling with is the eye strain. I got new glasses, but man, I want to take them out and soak them.
Yeah.
I was telling Joe yesterday, like after we finished and like after our staff meeting, I was like, I am so tired and I didn't even do anything but just sit at the computer today. I was like, I am so tired. Like I went to bed at like 7:00 last night and I never go to bed at 7:00. I was just like, I'm so tired.
Jordan, I made it to 8:30.
Like it lasted longer than I did because I went up and I did my normal nightly routine and then I laid in bed and I was out.
Well, and like yesterday morning, I had a difficult night's sleep leading into the start of this because it's like Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, we've been planning it. We're waiting for it to start. You know, this is always like months in advance. We're working on this. And this year, especially with like wondering if the grant was going to get refunded and all of that. So, I mean, there's been like all kinds of additional stresses going on. So and you guys have been wonderful. It's just, it makes it all of the stress and worry about it. It's like, yep, they showed up.
Yeah.
So happy.
This is honestly one of our favorite times of the year and one of our favorite things to do. It's a lot of work to pull together, but we feel so passionately about what we do. We know it's worth it. We know it works. So when we get all of our newbies coming in and it fills our buckets. So just so you know, we love you guys.
Yeah.
And I know I can speak for every single TRIO staff member here. We love what we do and we're so excited to be doing this.
Yeah, I was watching the news last night and I saw the news about the TRIO program and getting their grant funding and I was so excited. I was like, oh, that's so great. And then it clicked in my head, wait, that's my program. I'm in that. Yeah, it was also when I got my package and opened it, I think I was most excited about the mask because I took everything out and then there was something left in the bag and I pulled it out and I was like, oh, they gave me a mask. So that was great.
Elizabeth, what channel was that on?
We watched it on it showed up on WAVI, I believe.
Is that 5?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to have a talk with my mom because she watches that and she didn't say anything to me.
And she's a TRIO graduate.
Exactly.
All right. So I'm gonna put together an exit survey for anyone who is here today. I know Jordan sent you one at the end of the day yesterday, so I'll send it to her and she can send it back out. And we really do want your feedback about what went well, what we could improve. Some of it is, you know, the connectivity stuff is, we want to hear your experience of it. Even if we can't fix it, it still is good to know. But hopefully it's going well for you. And we'll see you tomorrow morning.